guys, welcome back and I hope you guys are doing great. So today's video is a sort of follow-up video for the previous video that I uploaded. So the previous video was the Wet n Wild one brand tutorial, and this video is gonna be a mini review for every single thing that I've tried from Wet n Wild. I hope you guys understand what the concept is, and if you did, let's get started. Okay, so I've just done basic divisions of what the products are about. So base products, eye products, and then lip products. Let's start with the base products because that's the order that I do my makeup in. So the first thing for my base is the Wet n Wild Photofocus foundation. This is a really good foundation. It's medium to full coverage. If you can find your shade and if you're wondering and wanting this, I would say go ahead and buy it. It's matte but it's not drying matte, and as I mentioned in my previous video, if I talk a little bit more about this, people will probably throw eggs at me just because I've done so much content related and around this foundation, but it's a good foundation. The shade range has been an issue recently. I've seen some shades available on different websites, but Nykaa only has 4 shades currently, so I'm not sure what Wet n Wild is exactly trying to do, but I've used this foundation for 2 years. I do really enjoy it. If you are not able to find your shade, I feel like the Lakme one is a good option if you're looking for something similar. The shade that I have is Toffee Pecan. This shade could use some yellow undertones for me. It's a neutral undertone foundation, so I can understand why this is not made for the undertone that I am, but if you are looking for this particular shade, just know it might be a little too orange for you. If this was a yellow undertone, I feel like this would be a really good match for me, but again, if you're able to find your shade, I would say go ahead. Would I recommend this foundation? The answer is yes. The next thing is the Wet n Wild Photofocus concealer. I have used this previously and I got it again just to film this one brand tutorial, and you might have been following me for a while, and there I might have mentioned that I do not actually enjoy this concealer that much. It's a good concealer, goes on smoothly, but on me it creases really quickly, and I get it. My under eyes have lines. It's obviously gonna crease, but it creases so quickly that sometimes I'll apply it, blend it out, and go fetch my powder, and by the time I come back and look in the mirror, my concealer is already creased. So maybe it takes me a minute to do that, and that is not something that I appreciate. Even after setting the concealer, it does crease a little, so not my favorite thing. And for shade reference, medium deep tan works well for me. I can definitely go ahead just using it as a concealer and not a highlighting concealer. Medium tawny was 1 or 2 shades lighter than this, so with that reference, choose accordingly. The concealer is also not full coverage, so it makes me feel like, do I need this? Because in the areas that I don't need concealing, I am someone who just leaves it alone. I do not even apply foundation or concealer in it, so it not being full coverage, not being able to cover my dark circles and hyperpigmentation well, makes it kind of pointless for me. Under eyes, it works fine. For a highlighting concealer, it works fine, but for hyperpigmentation areas, I feel like I need a little bit more, so that's why I would say I don't personally recommend this. If this works for you, that's great. It did not work out for me, and that's fine. The next thing is the Wet n Wild MegaGlo contouring palette. Please bring this back in stock. The banana powder in this palette, I love it so much that it hurts me how I cannot purchase it again. That's the only setting powder that I go towards every time I feel like I want my makeup to look really good. While filming, I don't put that much effort in, but if I have a wedding to attend, let's say, or an event to go to, I would definitely use the banana powder, so that's why I'm using it sparingly, because now I hit pan on both of these shades, so I hope they bring it in stock. And the contour or the bronzer in this case, I don't like it that much just because it has red undertones and I prefer something that has more bronze. I mentioned this in my previous video too. The one thing that I do like is it's not supremely pigmented to the point where if you apply a little too much, it would look bad. You can blend it out very nicely and it will look really good. The banana powder is definitely on this level, but the contour bronzer thing is something I don't mind. If you're around my skin tone, this would work beautifully for you. So would I recommend this? Absolutely yes. The next thing is the Wet n Wild Color Icon blush in the color Mellow Wine. This is very hyped up and there is a reason for its hype. It's a very pretty color. It goes well with my skin tone. If you're deeper than me, I feel like you will be still able to use it. Just layer it a little bit more and it will show up on your skin. For me, I don't have to layer it that much. It just looks pretty and it's a really good everyday color. It's pigmented but also not to the point where if you apply a little too much, you will have a blunder. You can definitely blend it out and make it look pretty on your cheeks. I think this will suit everyone, and because it's not a red orange, it's such a nudie sort of color, people will actually enjoy this even if you are not someone who likes blushes. This is a good way of starting your blush journey. Maybe if you're looking to purchase this one, I would say go ahead and pick this one up. I do recommend it. The next thing is the Wet n Wild MegaGlo highlighting powder in the color Precious Petals. The highlighter, for some reason I did not expect it to be smoother. I thought that it would still show up in chunks on my cheeks, but it does not. It's actually a really smooth formula, slightly duochromatic, where at an angle you see that it has pink undertones to it as well as the yellow that shows up when you're hitting it in the particular light. I do really like this. If you're wanting this particular highlighter, I would again say go ahead and pick it up. Maybe if you're darker than me, this might not be the best choice for you, and the same goes for people who are extremely fair. For my skin tone, it works, but I feel like if you're NC42, this would be a perfect highlighting color for you. It's fine on me too. I don't have a problem with it. I do really enjoy it. It's not really exactly a straight up golden highlighter. It still has some fun element to it. Would I recommend? Yes. And the last thing in the base category is the Wet n Wild Photofocus Natural Finishing Setting Spray. I have made a whole video on this. Go ahead and watch that. Again, I don't want to talk more about it because I've already talked enough about it. Watch that if you want to. Link will be in the description. Spoiler alert, this is like a hard pass for me. I do not care about this product. Okay, so that was it for all the base products. Let's move on to the eyes. Eyeshadow primer, I did not use it because the one available in India, it's not apparently worth the price. There are some things that I feel like I need to try for myself, but at the same time, if I know something is not working out for anyone, I might as well save my money. I also watch YouTube. I also watch people who review things, and if the majority of opinions are on the negative side, I will not spend my money. Let's start with the eyebrows, and the first thing that I'm gonna talk about is the Wet n Wild Retractable Pencil in the color medium brown. The color is fine for someone who has black hair. I do have very black hair, so if you're wondering if the color will show up, I would say go ahead. This is a good beginner's product. I feel like a lot of Wet n Wild is a good way of entering into makeup, not only because it's affordable, but also a lot of their products are easy to work around, and this is one of that. This works well. That is what I have in my brows today. The issue is if you have something underneath like your foundation or concealer and you haven't set it properly, it will not show up well. It will glide on kinda, so that becomes a problem if you do have a lot of foundation and coverage over in these areas. I personally feel like I would not be repurchasing just because I'm kind of wanting to graduate from this product. I've used it. This does not draw strokes for me, and that is something that I've recently felt the need of, so I will probably go for something that I can make eyebrow strokes with. I've had my time with it. I've enjoyed my time with it, and it's time to move on. Would I recommend this though if you're a beginner? Yes. Also, something I forgot to mention, Wet n Wild is frequently on 50% off on different websites, so try to find the best deal you can. If not 50, go on to 40. Don't buy it full price. Track these products often if you are interested in them, and then make your purchase. Okay, staying on with the brow category, the next thing is the Wet n Wild Mega Clear Mascara in the shade Clear. Don't buy this. It's doing nothing. Even if you expect it to do bare minimum, it does not do it. It's absolutely waste of money. I do not understand how someone can approve this product and put it on the market. I absolutely regret purchasing it. Apparently it's supposed to be a brow gel and a mascara. It does neither of those jobs. Save your 200 rupees. I regret spending mine. Would I recommend it? No. Coming on to eyeshadows, so the next thing is the Wet n Wild Color Icon eyeshadow palette in the color Rose in the Air. From what I know, this probably has the best formula amongst all of the variants available. This is such a versatile palette. You can just do so many looks from this, even though I only do that one particular look. There's just so much potential. The colors are amazing. Obviously, it's a copy of the Modern Renaissance palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. The formula is good. It glides on smoothly except for that particular pink shade. It's a really good palette, you guys. And if you are a beginner, go ahead and purchase this. You'll probably get the best use out of it because the colors are something you can use on wedding like occasions. At the same time, if you're going to an office, you'll be able to wear these colors there as well. Especially Indian skin tones, this palette just complements it really well. Even non-beginners, I feel like, will get a good use out of it. This used to be my go-to palette, and even now it is, but I feel like it's slightly taken over by the Soft palette. But I've done a video of using this palette in a lot of different ways, and I will link it around. Would I repurchase this though? No, just because I've had it for around 5 years and I think I'm done. These colors are not something that I'm currently missing. If I was, I would repurchase this. Would I recommend this? Yes. Next, coming on to liquid eyeshadow, so the Wet n Wild Catsuit liquid eyeshadow. I've used this before and it's slightly patchy, but I still had fun while I had it. I feel like this does not contain a lot of product because I used to swatch this often, and most of this was probably finished while I swatched it and did not use it on my eyes that many times. If you are buying it, I would say buy a shade that you will use frequently, just because that's the way you'll be able to get good use out of it. If you get something like a green, chances are that you won't be able to use it properly. As a formula, it's fine. It does go slightly patchy on me, but I've seen people like it and even I don't mind it. So would I recommend this? Maybe. If you're wanting this, I would say go ahead and try it. It's a fun formula to play around. That was it for the liquid eyeshadow. The next thing that I want to talk about are the Wet n Wild Color Icon kohl eyeliners. I've have again made a whole video about this. Go ahead and watch that if you want a more detailed review. The things that I like are you get a lot of product, you have a good shade range that covers the basics, so browns, blacks, nudes, whites, and also at a good affordable price. I personally would not be repurchasing just because the formula is not something that blew my socks off. In Indian market especially, there are a lot of kohls that are better formulas available. I also don't wear that many kohls and kajals. The formula is also creamy on some and not creamy on some, so it very much depends on your luck. I'm sorry, I don't have a definite answer. And that completes the eye area. Let's move on to the lips. The first thing that I want to mention is the Wet n Wild Color Icon lip liner in the color Chestnut. This lip liner, it's not too smooth, not too sturdy. If anything, it's definitely more on the stiff side, but it's not something that you have to drag on your lips and your lips would hurt. It is stiff. I wish it was slightly more creamier, but does it work well? Yes. The color is also really pretty, so I do enjoy this one, and I also feel like the color will suit every single skin tone, so that's a good point too. And you get a lot of product in it as well for the price that you're paying. I think this is a good deal. Would I recommend? Yes. Do I feel like this should be slightly smoother? Yes. The next thing is the Wet n Wild Catsuit Liquid Matte Lipstick. I do like this. The formula is thin, but it doesn't feel very heavy on your lips. It dries down to a very matte finish. The color is also really pretty. Again, will suit every single skin tone. The issue that I have is that it prominently shows the inner areas of your lip and where the lipstick starts. And also, if you're talking too much, it will slightly crust off from the outer corners. If you can overcome it, great. I sometimes have an issue, sometimes I don't. So that's the reason I don't feel like purchasing more liquid lipsticks in this formula. Is the formula superior? No. You can definitely get better things at this price tag now, but it's still a good addition, and I've swatched this in my nude lipstick swatch video a few months ago, so check that out. Not a few months ago, that was last year. But I've swatched similar lip colors in that video, so if you don't want this particular one, maybe check that one out. Would I still recommend it? For the color, yes. For the formula, maybe not. And the last thing that I did not use in my previous video was the Wet n Wild MegaLast lip colors. This is a matte one. It's in the color Sandstorm. I feel like these are quite underrated for the price range that they are in, the 300 rupees price range. You know what I mean? These last well. It's not creamy, but it has slight waxiness to it. But the formula is actually enjoyable and does last on me really well. So if you have been wanting this color, I would say go ahead. It's a pretty one as well. I also don't know if the reformulated or repackaged ones are anything different. If they are, let me know. This one was a pretty good lip color, and if anything, it was underrated in my opinion. Would I recommend it? Yes. So yes, that was it for today's video. That was every single thing I've tried from Wet n Wild since it launched in India, and yeah, I would say majority of the ones that I have are good just because I watch reviews thoroughly before purchasing anything, so I was bound to get good things. And the ones that I did not pay a lot of attention to for the reviews, I feel like they failed. So maybe it's a 50-50 for me. It's a good brand, but if you're buying anything, I would say go ahead and watch quite a few reviews of that product and then make your purchase. And I would also say that go for products that are actually well known and are famous in the market. So yeah, that completes this video. I hope you guys found this helpful. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please like, comment and subscribe. Let me know your favorite product from Wet n Wild. So yes, that was it. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.